Hey, what's up? You clicked on this video because you saw the Skydio 2 and you thought it was an awesome drone. But how did we get to this point? That's what I want to tell you today. Follow Me technology is one of those features in drones that consumers really love. I don't know how many people are actually using it to film their crazy epic lives, but nonetheless, it's a really cool thing to show to your friends. And there's multiple ways that Follow Me technology works. The first is through computer vision, and the second is through using sensors like GPS to have the drone be aware of where the user is. So some of the first Follow Me drones that came out were Hexoplus and AirDog. Both of these drones came out with second iterations of their product, but we haven't seen anything from them since. Both these drones utilize the 3D Robotics Pixhawk flight controller and built off that flight control stack something a little more custom. These companies integrated with 3D Robotics so that they would have not just a drone that would follow you like if you got a Pixhawk off the shelf, but a drone that's kind of a full integrated system. Both of these products raised $1.3 million on their respective crowdfunding platforms. That's a lot of money, and that it's not the most that a drone has gotten on a crowdfunding platform. This one is, but it showed that the public really wanted a drone that could follow you. For whatever reason, I don't think people are really living these crazy epic lives, but Lily drone was also a Follow Me type drone. It sold itself as a you throw it and it takes your picture kind of drone, which, we're selling a dream. But it came with a puck, it talked to your smartphone, and they got $43 million in pre-orders. It was almost as if the Lily camera team took the same kickstarting approach to launching their drone, but they did it on a secure back end so people wouldn't know how much money they made off of their project. There have been a lot of kickstarted drones released, and I actually made a video about that called The History of Drones. So go give that a watch if you want. You'll learn a lot more about kickstarted drones. But anyway, let's keep going on the different drones that have Follow Me. Yuneec at the time had the Q500 out, and the Q500 could follow you, watch you as it's flying. It did need to follow a big controller, so that wasn't really what people wanted. So Yuneec made a handheld device called the Wizard. The Wizard was a GPS puck that also had a compass and a pressure sensor. So as you are using the Wizard with the Typhoon H, the Typhoon H will always know where you are, will know, and it has the compass in there so that you could point and click in the air and the drone would go to the point that you pointed and clicked. Oh man, the Wizard. And the Wizard was a super fun, super cool piece of technology that a lot of people didn't use with the Typhoon H. In my opinion, the Typhoon H was one of the best Follow Me platforms. And then the Typhoon H got the Intel RealSense. Intel and Yuneec partnered on a RealSense module that integrated into the Typhoon H that gave the Typhoon H computer vision. What that means is it had two cameras, much like our own eyes, and that gives the drone the ability to sense depth and create maps in real time. The Typhoon H, I believe, only held a map for up to about 10 seconds, so it wouldn't remember the environment during the whole flight that you were doing. The benefit that the Typhoon H had is that when it was following you, it wasn't on a vision-based Follow Me mode, which meant that it would be able to navigate around trees, it would be able to find you again, but it would just be a little slower than where we're at today. After the Typhoon H launched, a couple months later, DJI released the Phantom 4. And the Phantom 4 had two vision sensors at the front of the drone. And then there was this battle between Yuneec and DJI about whose vision sensing was better. Was the vision sensing working at full speed? There was a conflict. There was, this was at the height of the intensity of the drone battles. This is when DJI filed a lawsuit against Yuneec, and that's when they really felt threatened once Intel came in and once there was RealSense technology onto the drone. Once DJI released the Phantom 4, that drone had two forward-facing imaging sensors that were doing the same thing as Intel RealSense. The difference is that with the Typhoon H, the camera was able to pivot in any direction, essentially making that one-way facing Intel RealSense module into a 360-degree obstacle avoidance module in follow me mode. Not while you're flying it with the controller, but in follow me mode, meaning if I wanted the drone to be in front of me, looking back, the drone would fly with its nose forward and the camera would look back. Similarly on the left or on the right. I think I did that wrong, but on the left or the right. The drone would be on my right. The drone, if I'm moving forward, the drone would be facing forward using the obstacle avoidance sensors, but the camera would be pointed sideways at myself. And that's one of the benefits of having retractable landing gear and a 360-degree camera. So in my perspective, the Yuneec Typhoon H was really the best follow-me drone at the time. DJI then released their Mavic Pro line, which featured the same imaging sensors for computer vision as the Phantom 4. And then we saw the Mavic, the Spark came out in between there, and the Spark used infrared to help with collision avoidance, only moving forward. Now, all the DJI products, until the Mavic Air, which we haven't gotten to, the Phantom 4, the Mavic Pro, and the Spark only utilize obstacle avoidance when you are moving forward. If you were coming back towards yourself backwards and a tree got in the way, it would not work until the Mavic 2 Mini, what is it called? Mavic 2 Air. The DJI Phantom 4, the DJI Mavic Pro, and the Spark could only avoid obstacles while moving forward. And this was a distinct difference between the Typhoon H and these DJI models at the time. Until the Mavic Air came out. The Mavic Air used, I think, a different camera system than the Mavic and the Phantom, cheaper cameras, little pinhole cameras, but it had those vision sensors on the front and on the back as well. And I believe they used an infrared to look up. And that was the first drone that could lead you, meaning the drone would be in front of you as you're moving forward, with the camera looking back, and still maintain its ability to avoid obstacles while following you moving forward. Moving on to the DJI Mavic 2, the Mavic 2 has image sensors on the front, on the back, on top, and on bottom. So DJI, with the Mavic 2, it can follow you without hitting anything, but the one hitch is that it is on a vision-based follow me. There is no small handheld device from DJI that you can use to have your drone follow you, and that helps when the vision gets lost. We'll talk about that in a sec. And then we saw Skydio show up, and this drone blew my mind. It was big. And it was loud. I personally never got to use one. However, all of the different testing that I saw online impressed me a bunch, specifically because I did a lot of validation testing on the Typhoon H with Intel RealSense. So I understood the engineering challenges, and I understood the programming challenges, and all the different nuances that happen when you're trying to avoid obstacles. So I was stoked, and I really wanted to get one, but the cost was about $2,500, which is a little bit out of the budget of your average drone pilot or person who wants to start flying drones. This week, Skydio released their Skydio 2, which is much smaller than their first gen product. It has a 4K 60 frames a second camera. It has 6 cameras all over it, and these cameras provide about a 43 megapixel image readout that maps the world in real time. Now, I don't know how long Skydio 2 holds the maps in its internals, but I would suspect that the chip in there and all the RAM were capable of holding the map for at least a minute or two. It is a lot of data to remember, but if you are navigating the same area over time, saving the map of all the obstacles in the area can give the drone the ability to localize itself in that area. What that means is if you don't have GPS or you're in a crazy tree cover, by mapping out all the obstacles in the area and seeing those obstacles, the drone will be able to get a GPS lock sort of hold while it's hovering, and that's awesome. Skydio 2 has a little remote just like the Yuneec Wizard. You can move the drone clockwise, counterclockwise around you, and there's a plus or minus, which in my eyes would be either altitude or distance from you. With the little remote controller, the range is 1.5 kilometers, which for any sort of follow me sort of use is way more than enough. If you want more range, and if you want to fly the drone more like a conventional drone with a controller, they have an option for that, and that goes 3.5 kilometers away from you. You can also use the drone just with your phone, but that's distance that the rated distance that can go is 100 meters or 300 feet, but we put cases on our phone, we hold our phones weird, and there can be a lot of noise interference in the signal talking to the drone, so the phone can't really communicate that far with the drone. So it's awesome that they have both the controller and the little wand remote that can control the drone. I think the biggest thing out of this whole release is the fact that this drone is gonna start at $999. And that means that full 360-degree obstacle avoidance while flying a drone in any direction is now available for end consumers at a reasonable price. And that is a huge deal. Another huge deal is that Skydio is looking beyond just the action sports sort of user. They've integrated their drone platform with Drone Deploy. And Drone Deploy is a software that helps create maps, whether it's for construction, whether that is for leveling, whether it's for photogrammetry, creating models. This drone on construction sites will be able to avoid moving vehicles. This would be able to avoid cranes, moving cranes. It just makes the world of capturing data a lot more safe and efficient. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a version of Skydio with an infrared camera on it, and something I'm really interested in is how well Skydio will fly inside down a hallway, because I see a lot of potential use for this drone in fire departments, police departments, but mainly police and SWAT departments. Using this drone, they'd be using this drone to gain situational awareness. And one of the biggest things about this drone too is that the Skydio 2 is made in America. That is super awesome and something that a lot of public agencies are looking for. With DJI being a Chinese company, there has been concern about conflicts of interest. Where's our data going? Can DJI tap into our drones? And if you are in the military or public safety, or you're documenting any critical infrastructure, where's that data going? So it's very important that Skydio is a US-based company. I think they will be selling a ton of drones to public safety officials, to government officials, especially the Army and SWAT. I'm just so excited to see where this technology goes. I'm excited to see if it has geofencing technology for all of us Part 107 pilots. You know how much of a pain that can be. We've been working through all those pain points over the last year or two of getting authorizations and whatnot and unlocking our drones. So you know how hard it is. I'm just very interested to see this product and get my hands on it and really put it through its paces. If you like this video, what's up? I'm Trent. If you're new around here, I have been in the drone industry about 6 years. You can see some of my other videos from drone events over the last 6 years. That's about all I got for you. There are for sure other drones out there that can follow you. I think the cheapest one is about $80, $100. There's some Walkera drones that can follow you that are pretty cheap. So there's a few that I've left out, but the key big players are Hexo Plus, AirDog, 3D Robotics with their Pixhawk flight controller, the suite of DJI drones, Typhoon H being the first drone to effectively be able to sense and avoid obstacles, and the Skydio version 1, and now the Skydio version 2. I'm so excited for this drone to come out. I just got my pre-order in. Let me know if you are interested in this drone, seeing more reviews about it, and I hope you get in the air, that you're flying, and that you just feel the stoke that I feel. Fucking talk about drones forever. Just doesn't get old. Okay, maybe it has gotten old, and that's why I've been gone for a little bit, but I'm starting to get the stoke back.